Hi, welcome to Who Is They?
Who is they?
I'm Josh.
I'm Kelly.
And we are asking, who is they?
Who is they?
They're always talking about something. They're always telling us what to do.
They're always, but you know what they've been saying these days?
What have they been saying so far?
They say, at least I heard they said, and you said, but they say that the Smashing Pumpkins show at the new arena here in Nashville was awesome.
It was awesome. You know, and I think we've both heard contradictory statements to that. We both were there, so we experienced the awesomeness. Mm-hmm, but we've also heard tell of other people that didn't experience the same awesomeness that we did. Apparently,
there's a funny thing that you know, our friend Cassio, he wrote the review, and he was sitting near us, and he wrote the review in the scene, and he got this really nasty reply from someone who was like, I highly doubt you were even there because that's not the show that I saw. And I was thinking, like, what show did you see?
Right. Like, we saw a really good show.
Because pretty much what he described is exactly what we saw, and it was awesome. So, you know.
That's funny. And I guess, I don't know if it's an age thing because, you know, I never got to see Manson.
Me either.
So that was my first Manson show. That was my fourth Pumpkin show.
Yeah.
But I never got to see Manson, so it was, and it's comical to me now because he's 46 and still doing the same stuff he was doing when he was in his late 20s, which I guess is okay, but it's like cutting himself and bleeding and everything. It's all for theatrics, but it's still it's just kind of funny that that's still happening.
I still think it's funny watching a 46-year-old man sing a song called Lunchbox.
Yeah. And kill the hell out of it.
Yeah. And that was, to me, that was the best part of the show.
Yeah.
Was Lunchbox.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I knew it was coming, but it's just
still,
it had to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It had to happen.
Yeah.
Especially because they were that auxiliary musician they had was doing the white trash.
Yeah.
Sample in the middle of it, you know, from Cake and Zombie. So I thought that was kind of cool. A little flavor, and you know, during the break when, you know, he was an accident, you know.
Yeah,
you know,
there was a time. So I'll go into that. So he was periodically throughout the show, he would grab a beer, somebody would hand him a beer, and then he would not drink it, of course.
Just smash it.
He would smash the bottle on the drum kit riser, and then just so delicately cut his hand, so he delicately, so he could have a little bit of blood kind of coming out. He just threw it on the ground. One point during the show, I watched this whole thing happen.
Yeah.
I watched him step on the glass. I watched him reach down to his boot to pull the piece of glass out, and I also saw him recoil in pain and see his face go, ow. Like, I saw him say ow.
Yeah. Can't miss that.
You can't miss that. So he had actually cut himself non-accidentally or non-theatrically. So,
which was funny.
Yeah.
Because he had said something like, he was like, when he came out, he was just really calm, and he was like, yeah, I'm sorry, that was an accident. Like,
yeah. Like, he totally owned up to it.
Like okay, yeah, I guess, yeah.
So he probably did get some sort of stitches or something that night. He kept coming out with a series of bandages, so that was a pretty decent break in the set.
Was I the only one that noticed that Twiggy was doing Dope Hat on the bass real slowly?
Oh, while that was going on?
Yeah. Was I the only one that noticed that? Like,
I think so.
Because, I mean, that was unmistakably, you know, but it was real slow.
It was real slow. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but I didn't want to like freak out. I'm like, oh, he's playing Dope Hat, but because I didn't want to like be the guy that was wrong, you know.
Right.
But I think he was playing Dope Hat. So,
sure.
You know.
It was a pretty extensive break in the set. I mean, it was at least 10 minutes.
Well, I thought it was hilarious when the bandage just slid off. There was so much blood.
Mm-hmm.
Like, right there in mid song,
Yeah.
like during Beautiful People. I'm like, oh my god, like he's
Yeah.
really hurt.
Like
you
he's
know?
really like there is a lot of blood on stage now.
You have to kind of like look back and kind of because we were there during the core media feeding frenzy of Marilyn Manson back like 96, 97, 98,
Mhm.
when that was just like it was popular to hate on him, and you got to admit it is kind of cool just to like here we are these years later and he's still doing it.
Right, the same stuff.
And it's like he's not compromised it at all. He's just
Mm.
like, this is who I am, this is what I do,
Yeah.
like even though some of his new stuff sounds like cock rock, but
Yeah.
I guess when you grow up listening to that, it's like
Well, and you've already done all the shock rock anyway, so,
Right.
But
so do the cock rock now.
so do cock rock after
Yeah.
shock rock.
Mhm.
I just find it incredibly funny and ironic that his music now is almost obsolete or irrelevant because of what he created
Right.
in the 90s. He created, of course there's always been shock rock, Alice Cooper and death metal bands and things like that have always Kiss, have always had these shocking things that have happened to music. Then Manson comes along and does his version of that. But now it's, seeing him on live, it's like, well, ho hum, It's like I'm not this is not shocking by any means.
Right.
But he is a part of why it's not,
Yeah.
We're so, disenchanted by that now.
He's stayed out of the media.
He has.
And I listened to a podcast with him on it, and this would have been like 2 years ago when he was getting ready to release a record or whatever, and and he had said that like the guy in the podcast was like no, you stay out of the media, and he's like no, they've just stayed away from me. He's like I never did anything for the media, they just followed me around, and
right,
it's like nothing I ever did was for them, it was for the show I was putting on.
Right.
And it was kind of weird actually hearing him on that because he just really just like chilled.
Yeah.
Like and he's always been that way, but it's just like he's not talking about killing babies and sacrificing goats. He's just like they were talking about like horror movies and their favorite episodes of like Walking Dead and stuff like that.
Right.
So it's like I don't know. He's like become the epitome of Alice Cooper, like Millie Walker,
Right.
So
Sexual person anyway. Like I don't,
Right.
I never thought it was just for pure shock value.
yeah.
There was substance behind it.
So so that was awesome,
Mm-hmm.
and we got a break,
We got a break.
and then Smashing Pumpkins opened up with Cherub Rock.
Yep. It sure did.
Yeah, like I don't know how else. I don't know how else to even.
Right. Just to
You
go
know,
into that.
yeah.
That's how the show opened was with Cherub Rock.
Yeah, I don't even know how else to even go into that. Yeah, you're
Mhm.
right. So I don't,
Yeah.
I can't even like. If that's all the lead in we have, then there you go.
Yeah. Cherub Rock was the first song they played.
That's
No.
something they never would have done. So, I was. We knew it was coming because we looked at the set list, but at the same time, I was sort of like, "Wow, that's like." They would never ever do that,
Right.
Before, even when they were touring Siamese Dream, it was never something that like
Was the first song.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it really gave you an idea of what you're in for. Like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
here we go.
Yeah.
And
And it's really in part thanks to Chamberlain on drums. Like if it was any other drummer, it would not have been as a special show as it
No.
was.
no, it would not have been at all. And they did those new songs, and then just like, okay, whatever,
Yeah.
There was that one though, that real heavy one. I was like, okay, all right, I think all right, kind of sounds like Siva, like
Right.
okay, I'm Chamberlain really held his own, and on those tunes as well, But I think the highlight of the show had to have been Mayonnaise.
Oh, Mayonnaise was brilliant.
Never heard that one live either. So,
Never. Never thought I ever would.
Yeah. And they did that whole intro perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was perfect.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I like about Jeff Schroeder. Jeff Schroeder just like he doesn't just like, oh, I'm gonna kind of play James's parts and maybe add my own flair. No, he plays James's parts. Like he plays them like and does them well and doesn't try to do his own thing. He just I'm playing the parts. Here we go. You know.
Well, and two, I don't think Billy would allow that.
yeah, me either. Yeah, you know, he doesn't get any.
You don't get unless you wrote this song. You don't get to play it your way.
Right. So that was cool.
And we get to see Disarm, Billy playing solo, which is cool. And Landslide, and that was really nice with Billy and Jeff.
That was actually a landslide to me. You know,
a lot of people went nuts for that. Actually, I don't think. And I talked to somebody I work with, and I don't think she realized that they had recorded that. And I was like, this was on one of their records, you know, like way back in the day. And I was like, if you never heard it, listen to it because it's really good. Yeah. But a lot of people went crazy when they started playing that.
And I'm trying to really this was like almost a month ago, so I'm kind of like racking my brain on it, you know. But all in all, I think what we're really trying to get at here is that it was a nostalgia show, but it was an awesome one at that, you know.
Yeah, it wasn't phoned in.
No,
like they
brought the pain.
They did. Like Billy was really good.
And I would like to point something out. I would like to point this out. That I was right about the bass player.
Mm-hmm.
The bass player was Jack Bates.
Yeah.
Who I got to meet because he's Peter Hook's son.
Yeah.
And for those of you listening, Peter Hook was a member of Joy Division. But what's funny is that like they ran that in the scene. You know, Seth posted that as part of his article, and I felt proud about that because I was able to point that out. You know?
That's awesome.
You know, I was like, oh yeah, that's Jack Bates. But what I thought is hilarious that he's even for that, you know, like I find that to be even more hilarious that like he got the gig.
I don't really think that's too crazy because of who he is.
Yeah.
Because Billy has that affiliation or that fascination with
female
Joy Division
players.
anyway.
Yeah.
Well, that too. But I was looking at some pictures the other day when I went to Chicago with Daniel I was looking at these pictures on that marquee.
Oh, Peter Hook and the Light.
He played like 2 days after we were there.
Oh, cool.
At the Double Door.
Nice.
That was pretty cool.
So, so that was cool.
That was a good show.
Yeah, we had a good time.
And Ascend is a really awesome venue. Like, I kind of was sketch at first about it, but
and you went back the week after, right?
I did. 1 week later, I went back and saw Peter Frampton and Cheap Trick.
How was that?
It was great. Cheap Trick sounded awesome.
Yeah?
Yeah. Like, Nielsen sounded great. Like, everybody sounded... Like, vocals were awesome. I was so impressed that the vocals still sound as good as they did.
Nice.
And they played Everything You Want to Hear, of course.
Nice.
So, like the last couple songs, they did Surrender and I Want You to Want Me and all that, which is great.
Did they play Dream Police?
They played Dream Police. They played Voices. They played all kinds of great stuff. And I didn't realize till actually my manager was there. I didn't go with him, but he was there, and we ran into each other. But Rick Nielsen's son, and he's my age, which is even cooler. So that's pretty fun.
Yeah, he has a funny story. His first concert was Red Hot Chili Peppers, Smashing Pumpkins, and Pearl Jam.
Nice.
And, he said his father took him to that concert, and he said it was different kind of concert experience because we didn't go through the front door. We went through the back door to the backstage and met the band before the show, you know, and everybody, he said Flea said, like, you have no idea how cool your dad is and all this stuff. And, like, he was uncool back before uncool was cool. And and he's like, you know, not everyone I know got to have a first concert experience like that, you know?
Sure.
Like, yeah.
Wow.
So it's kind of silly when you think about it.
It is silly.
When your father's Rick Nielsen and everybody is influenced by you, you know, you kind of you get perks.
And what was great too is like periodically through the set, Nielsen would just go off stage, and he would just come back with like a handful of picks, and just throw them out into the crowd. I mean, literally just a handful.
I still have all mine.
Yeah.
I have several of them. Yeah. One of these days I'll put them on display or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't. But the last few Cheap Trick shows I've been to, I haven't been close enough to actually catch one. So these are all from like '98, '99.
Oh, that's cool.
The first two that I went to.
That's awesome.
Because they were outdoor things.
Mm-hmm.
So.
No, they still sound great. Peter Frampton sounded awesome. It's Peter Frampton. I mean, baby, I love your way.
Really, yeah.
I just kind of went
Peter fucking Frampton.
And that's exactly what I said when he started playing that song. I mean, it was a cheap show, and it's Cheap Trick, so why not?
Yeah.
And you get to see Frampton, and it was cool. He actually played Black Hole Sun.
Oh, nice.
It was cool, but it was instrumental, so he didn't sing it, but it was cool that he still kind of played it. It was like playing some Soundgarden. That's pretty awesome.
Did he play "Show Me the Way"?
Yeah, of course.
You know what version of that song I love?
What's that?
The Dinosaur Jr. version.
I don't know if I've heard that.
You ever heard that?
What's it on?
It's on. It was a B-side to the Little Fury Things single.
Okay.
12-inch single, and so it had Little Fury Things on the B-side. Had "Show Me the Way," and it was
probably heard that.
Yeah, it's on the Fossils EP that they took all the singles, early singles, and they put them on all in one spot, and it's called Fossils, and it's on there, and you couldn't get it until now. It's on the box set now. So if you get the little singles box set that came out for Record Store Day, it's got all the covers on there now. So
yeah,
so it has that, and it's got the Cure cover and the other punk band they did, the Chunks, the song Chunks. They were called like Final Warning or something like that. I forget the name of that punk band. But yeah, that's a cool song.
Yeah.
It's like all and but the way they do that song is just, it's sort of like the way Jay plays it versus the way Frampton plays it. It's identical, but Jay does it with like two big muffs and a wah pedal and a lot of feedback, you know, and Frampton's like wow wow wow, you
right.
know? So if you could imagine Jay Mass is going wow 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 wow
Yeah.
wow, you know, so,
loud, noisy.
Yeah, so
That's cool.
So that's cool. It's a good show.
Yeah, it was a really good show. And I would like to go back to Ascend, but
they really hit it coming out of the park this season. This opening season for that, their concerts, like they really hit it coming out of the park. And it's like they had Costello with you can't get much better than some of the lineups they've had, but like we haven't had a venue like that here in such a long time to host shows like that.
Right. When did Starwood close?
I think in 2004. Okay. I think 2004 was their last season. It was their last concert season. Because The Cure played there in 2004, and that was the last time I went.
That was like Muse and like all those people?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't go to that. I saw a couple shows at Starwood. I know I saw like Weezer there.
I saw Pearl Jam there.
Nice. What tour?
Riot Act, not right. Was that right? Yeah, Riot Act
Riot
tour.
Act?
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, they did. We saw one of 3 shows that they played Bush Leaguer.
Okay.
On that tour, they only played it 3 times, and we were the third and final one.
Sweet.
Yeah, they caught a lot of shit for that.
Mm-hmm.
Like whatever.
Yeah, Eddie Vedder really hated George Bush.
Yeah. No, really.
About as much as
it wasn't an act.
About as much as Fat Mike from NoFX.
Yeah. So, but we haven't had anything. We haven't anything cool like that in so long, But the way I like the Ascend venue is, it's Starwood about 3/4 the size of it.
Oh yeah, it's like a mini Starwood.
And it's because Starwood was huge. That was always the big complaint. It was too big.
Oh yeah, like the lawn was insane.
Yeah,
it's like Hi-Fi Buys. I haven't been down there in a long time, but I know that place is always huge.
Yeah, it was just too big, way too big. It's just sort of like, that's why no one ever went, because it costs you're paying out the ass to sit a mile away.
Yeah.
And Yeah, so that's that's that right there.
And that's kind of going with what you're saying. That the best thing about Ascend is no matter where you are, the sound is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like the sound is really good. They didn't have it had rained during the day that Sunday
Right.
for Cheap Trick, so they didn't have the jumbotrons up, which was kind of unfortunate. Because they had taken them down earlier in the day, but
Yeah.
it was totally clear that night. So I mean, the weather was beautiful that evening.
Yeah, I remember that.
But they didn't have the jumbotrons on. But I stayed in the back, like on the back wall of the lawn, and it was like perfect view, and the sound was just incredible. Like it sounded so good back there too. But where we were for Pumpkins and Manson was awesome.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe like
We were
where
that
we
close,
were.
yeah.
That was great.
Yeah, it's like I said, man. You only live once. For those of you who don't know, they lowered the price of the tickets, and we swooped in on it like 3 days before the show.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't my ideal ticket price, but at the same time, it's sort of like I knew that I knew that we were probably going to regret it. But here, I was also thinking, I did not realize as soon as we walked in, I was like, well, shit, we could have sat in the lawn. Look how close it is.
Oh, yeah.
Like the map makes it look like it's 10 miles away.
Mhm.
Like.
That's why I wasn't when I bought those lawn tickets for Frampton. I was like, who cares? This is great.
But I just thought it was funny. I was like, I could pay $40 in fees, or I could pay $50 in fees.
Mm-hmm.
I'm spending an extra $10.
Right.
Either way, we were going to spend $40. So
Exactly.
It's like,
And we were like, what, like 15 rows back,
15,
maybe,
if that. Yeah. And I haven't been that close at an arena show in a long time.
Mm-mm.
Well,
No.
except for the Who.
Yeah.
I saw the Who's. But that was this year. But yeah, so for all the listeners out there, the Ascend Amphitheater is awesome.
Yeah.
That's all we're really trying to tell you is that you need to go to a show there and not drink the $14 beer. Just flask it or do it. My friend Emily watched the Pumpkins in the parking lot.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and Bingham and Angela watched it. And they have a friend that lives in one of the apartments nearby, and they
Mhm.
watched it from their apartment.
Sweet.
So, like,
Yeah, for Frampton, we left before he came out for the encore. We left during him playing Do You Feel? Basically, I just wanted to hear it for like the whole Pumpkin or the Simpsons like aspect.
I gotta make his guitar talk.
Do much user talking.
Well,
So
I bought that at Pink Floyd's garage sale.
So I left during that, and when I was walking back to my car, I parked in the same parking lot that we did for Pumpkins and Manson because it's $10.
$10.
So not 30.
Not 34.
But when I was walking back, when I turned the corner back to the block to go down that road where the parking lot is, it was like crystal clear.
Yeah.
The sound. I was like, I could have stood here the whole time. Couldn't really see the show, but you could hear it perfectly. Like it was amazing.
I mean, that's probably like the $1 million brand new state of the art powered sound system they have in that thing.
Yeah.
Where you could project it across the river, and people in East Nashville can hear the show.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What was the name of that band? Never mind, I won't even go into that. Anyway, they're like the loudest band in the galaxy. You could only listen to them like 10 miles in a underground because they were so loud.
I don't know.
They're called like Fallout Shelter or something like that.
I don't know. That sounds familiar, but I can't.
It was in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Right.
What was the name of it?
I just watched that like a few months ago. I hadn't seen it in a long time.
The loudest band in the galaxy.
Right.
So, yeah. So what else we have on our what else have they been saying?
They've been saying that we've been getting a lot of new records lately.
Yeah.
Like a lot. Like I've probably spent a lot of money this past week on new music.
I bought a few things, and the one I'm actually waiting for it to arrive is the new Lou Barlow.
Mm-hmm.
It comes out on Friday, and I got the shipping notification on Saturday.
Yeah.
So it'll be here this week. And I bought the vinyl CD cassette combo.
Yeah.
From Joyful Noise. And the reason why I bring this up is I pre-ordered this in July, like last week of June, first week of July,
Mm-hmm.
and I must have got in on the pre-order early enough because 2 weeks ago I got a package from Joyful Noise, and it is a lathe cut record, which is something you have to do it by hand.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a question. It says Lou Barlow ? On it, and there's a little note attached to it that said, "Thank you for pre-ordering. Please enjoy this mystery track from Lou Barlow's new, and enjoy your limited edition lathe cut single."
Mm-hmm.
And it says 1 of 41, and I was like,
"That's awesome."
You only made 41 of these? I must have got it on the pre-order, like one of the first people to get, because mine was 1 of 41.
Yeah.
It's like I must have been the first person to pre-order.
Yeah.
And they probably sent out one of these to the first bunch of people who pre-ordered the record, and I put it on my. Here's the thing about a lathe cut: it doesn't play like a normal record. It has flaws because it's cut. It's literally cut, you know.
Yeah.
It's not stamped, and it skips.
Does it?
But the note attached to it telling you that like it's probably gonna do that, so you know all you gotta do is just nudge the needle a little bit, you know. You won't hurt it, you know, or weigh it down.
Weigh the needle down.
Yeah, like put a quarter on it, and I did that, and it didn't skip anymore.
Oh, awesome.
So it's like old technology meets Lou Barlow. But I bring this up. We talk about getting new records. I was not expecting this. And this is the kind of cool shit that Joyful Noise does for people who still buys records.
Yeah.
Who still or still buys everything, you know. Like they sent me this they didn't have to do that, you know.
Right.
I mean, but they did it, and it was awesome, you know. But like, you know, there hasn't been I haven't dealt with a record label like this in a very, very long time. You know, like Sub Pop used to do cool shit like that, but not anymore.
Sub Pop used to send you like every sticker they made.
Yeah.
Like if you bought something from them, they gave you the store.
They used to send out free shit, like, you know, free singles and stuff, and like they don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
And it's just so that's why I bring that up. It's just like I pre-ordered something and I got something I was not expecting.
Yeah.
You know, like whoa, this is kind of neato. So now I have, you know, I've got a rare single. So so what else did you get this like past couple weeks? You've gotten a few things, I know.
I've gotten a few things. Well, the new Ghost record came out, which is awesome.
We were just listening to that.
Just listening to that. That's really great.
Yeah.
I actually went to. I got my newsletter from Grimey's. I don't know if do you do the newsletter from Grimey's?
Probably comes into my Gmail that I never check.
Yeah. I'll look at it and just kind of scan it. But I saw that they were releasing the Tron Legacy soundtrack on vinyl, and hasn't been released before. It's on CD. And which was done by Daft Punk, of course.
And it's cool. It's good.
It's
stuff.
really great. It's more like I was telling people. It's more symphonic than it is techno, or it's more symphonic than it is electronic.
It's chiptune meets symphony.
Yeah, and it's really great. And
but a lot of that symphonic stuff is all synthesizer too. So, but it sounds like slick. Like you can't even tell. You know. So. And
when you open it up, when you look at the insert, it's got all the musicians that played. You know, like all the strings and everything, which is really cool. Because that doesn't normally happen.
They're masters of their craft.
It's it's Daft Punk, you know.
Yeah.
So I got that. I went up to Grimey's to get that. I had ordered the variant Ghost, so I didn't want to get that. Grimey's actually didn't even get the Ghost record. Their shipment was late or something, so they didn't even get it. But I went up there for the sole purpose of getting the Tron soundtrack. And I really enjoyed that movie, and I hope the third one eventually gets made at some point. I doubt it will.
Tron Legacy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a fan of Tron. Like that whole idea.
It's supposed to be cheesy. That's what I tell people.
Well, exactly. I mean, if they saw the first movie, then they have to know that it's not going to be like.
This sucks? Did you see the first one?
Right. Exactly.
I can only imagine what you thought about that one.
Right. This is light years difference.
I think it's funny they're just not putting that out on vinyl. I figured that would have been available. I mean, that movie came out 4 years ago, right?
Yeah. So. It's not a new movie, so it's kind of surprising. A lot of things are doing that though, like the Edward Scissorhands soundtrack's getting a reissued on vinyl, so I'm gonna be picking that up here in a couple of weeks whenever it comes out. That was the first music that I bought on my own as a kid. Cool. That was the Edward Scissorhands tape soundtrack. Daniel Elfman.
Danny fucking Elfman.
That's right. I was introduced to him for
Danny fucking Elfman.
Introduced him at a young age, not through Oingo Boingo, just through his score. So
you know what's funny? You bring that up, you know, about Elfman and just or Burton or whatever. Is that like before I knew who he was, I knew who he was. Like, I knew that
Right.
if I was watching a Tim Burton movie, the music was going to be a certain way. It was going to sound a certain way. It was one of those things I always knew. But then it was like, oh, it's because Danny Elfman does the music for every single movie. And it's like, okay, well, there you go. You know,
Yeah.
now I know why. But before I really paid attention, I mean, I'm talking like I'm like 13 years old, you know.
Right.
Like before I really paid attention to stuff like that, I knew a Tim Burton movie was going to sound a certain way.
Oh, of course, yeah.
You know, and if it did not, maybe I would have been pissed off. You know, hell, I'd be pissed off now.
Right.
You know, and we'll come. I think we'll come back to Burton here in a little bit.
Yeah.
After the break, we'll come
Yeah,
back to
we can
Burton
talk to
because
him.
we have to talk about him in a whole other way.
Yeah,
here
whole different,
in a little
whole
bit.
different aspect.
So
you
and,
got the Tron soundtrack.
we both got the same record.
Yeah, I came home the other day, not expecting this. I was doing something, and I came home, and there's this white box on my doorstep, and I was like, okay. And then I pick it up, and I see El Camino, and I was like, this isn't
Already?
Yeah. So I came in, opened it up, and sure enough, it's Gizmodery, and it's the most brilliant toy color blue.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love it. Like, it's like as soon as I looked at it, I was like, this reminds me of a toy.
Yeah.
As a child, like just the way it's so opaque and it's so blue, like it's just perfect. It's not
It looks
transparent
like a
at
Lego.
all. Yeah.
It's like Lego blue.
Like or a Fisher Price,
Mhm.
something Fisher Price would have released. I
Well,
still haven't listened to it yet.
It goes great up against that just the cover. If you just take the record and
Mm-hmm.
you know, like it goes wonderful next to the cover. I mean, it's perfect, and like you know, can't imagine.
Yeah.
You know, I think my mic is.
I've lost.
Did you lose?
I've lost
your,
it.
Okay.
I don't know if it's just
Oh, we're still recording.
totally
though.
cut off or anything.
We're still recording.
Well,
though.
I'll keep talking then.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, I didn't expect that, and so I sent you a text, and then I sent Daniel a text, and I was like, "Hey, this just came in."
Oh, did he get it too?
No, I don't think he's got it yet. But he was like, "Yeah, they said something about them shipping early," and I went to the website and looked at it, and I was like, "Yeah, sure enough, it said if you pre-ordered, it would get shipped like 3 weeks before it became available
Right.
in stores or anything." So I did not expect that at all.
Interesting.
Yeah,
So well, I've listened to it already. It sounds awesome.
I bet it does.
That's about all I can say. He whoever he got to do the mastering job on it, or if he did it himself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was obvious. I mean, obviously, he doesn't have to track down his own masters. He's got them himself, you know. But like,
Yeah.
so you're working from the original DAT tape probably, or you know, and it just there's a clarity to it that's just pretty cool.
Yeah.
And there's also this sort of like, I don't know, just because it's a toy instrument album, there's digital noise all over it. You know, there's kind of like, you know, there's like it's supposed to be that way, but I don't know. But it's on the vinyl. It's sort of like, I don't want to say it's cleaned up. It's a little more pronounced.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
So you can kind of feel it a little bit. You know. So whoever did the remaster did a really good job with it. Like you can kind of like some of the little noisy bits, you can just like kind of feel them on the record. Like like they tickle your ear a little bit. You know.
Well, that's like I remember when they would play. I guess it was "I'm a Little Explosion." Matt had this. The way he had his gear set up was like he had his. Of course, then it was all toy instruments live too. They didn't play actual instruments live when they played these songs. Even Rawlings had a toy drum kit, which was great because he just looked like this Hulk behind this tiny drum kit. But Matt had his omnichord, and he did have a drum pad, so it wasn't like. But I guess it was like a Suzuki, like old school drum pad. It wasn't like a newer type. This was 2000, so so it wasn't anything modern by our means. But there was a couple of things that he would play that you couldn't really hear as much on the record, like when you heard it live. It was a little bit more pronounced live. So that's probably some of the stuff that he might have bumped up on the remaster.
Yeah, there's some like, and it's more textural, you know.
Yeah.
Like texture type stuff, like it's in the background that you can hear them on the record, but you just can't really they're just a little more up front. You know, it's like
Mhm.
there's like kind of they cleared some of the fog for you to actually kind of experience it just a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I was really impressed.
Mhm.
On the I played it like twice, and it goes from side A to side B in the exact spot that I always kind of thought it would if it was a record,
Mhm.
or if it was on a tape or something, you'd have to
Where's
flip it over.
what's the last song on side A? Patty Cake.
Ordinary.
Ordinary. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So
Nice.
yeah, so it goes through. Well then, but it's also got Resurrect on it. So.
Yeah. Which is on the Japan import. It was funny when I came out here one time, probably for a feature show. I came out to hang out with Matt, and we went to Phonolux, maybe? I think it was Phonolux. And I was at that point I was always looking for Self or Fluid Ounces, stuff that I didn't have. And granted, like I said, this was probably 99, 2000. We were in Phonolux, and I was like, oh, they've got Gizmodory, but I've already got that. And I was like, oh, it's the Japanese release anyway. And Matt, we were actually outside talking about that, and Matt runs back in and buys that. But yeah, so
Peach?
Peach got the
Japanese.
The Japanese.
He still has it.
Does he?
Yeah, he still has it.
Yeah, so I was with him that day when he got that.
He said his copy got stolen. His original Gizmodory got stolen a while back.
I think he gave me his original copy of Half Baked Serenade.
Nice.
Yeah. Forth with music. Hey, there we go.
Yeah, it's back on. Yeah.
Back on. We're back.
Well, I was
He always gave me like Self stuff because he was out here already.
He gave you Ornament and Crime, which I gave him.
Which you gave him, which you got from
the guy, the man,
from the man himself.
The man himself. Yeah.
I love that. I love when I sent you that picture. I was like, was this them? Like, yep, that's the one. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So amazing. And that copy got copied and copied and copied. And so many people in East Tennessee have that record because of that CD.
And I'm sure the man knows that that's exactly what was going to happen with it. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, it'd be kind of hard not to because he still plays like Coming Over and The Pounding Truth to this day.
It's obvious he's proud of a lot of those songs.
Yeah, and everybody's singing along with him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, people have somehow gotten a copy of this record. I know where the people that I know got it from, from him, from you, from Matt, from me, to them, to their ears.
6 Degrees to Matt Mahaffey.
Right.
Well, I'm really excited because I think that now that we've seen the Gizmodory re-release on the vinyl, I think we're going to see the other two.
Yeah. I'm really hoping for another run of Breakfast.
But
and Half Baked.
I would love to just.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably never going to happen, unless somebody makes it happen. So
it'll happen. I mean, it'll definitely happen.
Well, did we ever? I guess what I was pointing out. Did we ever think that was going to happen? Probably not.
No,
so,
never.
So that's kind of cool. But other than that, I haven't really got a whole lot of new stuff. I mean, I got, I think it's Mondry.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Joyful Noise. I'm in their Flexi Club. They sent me the new Flexi came in today, and I haven't even opened the package yet because I don't even know what band it is. So I guess I'll do that when I get home. And I got the Lou pre-ordered. But I did buy a Husker Du record.
Yeah.
And I did buy a Bob Mould band, his band Sugar.
Yeah.
90s, which is, I love that stuff. But I saw that there was like a double vinyl reissue of it, of the first record, and I was like, huh. Okay, sold.
All right.
I was like, because it comes with a live show.
Yeah.
Which is badass. And they do a really awesome cover of a Who song, Armonia, City in the Sky.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a Who. It's on Who Sell Out, and the way Sugar does it is just badass. I mean, it's like, Dave Grohl style drums on playing the Who.
Yeah.
Like So I've been listening to that, but so because I got that, I got a Husker Du record. It was a Hastings, and they had Zen Arcade for $13.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, why the hell not?
Yeah.
I don't have Zen Arcade, and I forgot Zen Arcade was a double album.
Yeah.
And there's like 23 songs on it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it's like thrash pop. I mean, literally thrash pop,
Mm-hmm.
like thrashy punk songs that are so fucking catchy. You're like, okay, what was this? Is this punk rock? What the hell? Like,
Right.
you know. But I kind of just kind of came into those just sort of like, oh, didn't know there was a re-release of that, and I was gonna get Bob Mould's new album, but I'm gonna wait.
Just pick it up at the show.
Yeah, so I'm gonna just buy it if I can go see him. But I streamed it online and it's good. So
Mm-hmm.
he plays with the band on this one, and
Okay.
so he's doing a 3-piece band again. Pretty much the band that toured with him when they did the Sugar reissues. He did a tour playing both the Sugar albums start to finish. They didn't come here,
Yeah.
and but those guys that were playing with him doing that tour played on his new record, and so he's kind of back to doing like just kind of turning the amplifiers up type of deal.
Yeah.
But his acoustic stuff's good, It's his he made an electronic album. I haven't heard that one, but
That's weird.
what's like sample based electronic kind of, got loops and stuff. I heard like one or two of the songs, but sounds like Bob Mould. But
Okay.
but yeah, that's pretty much what I've acquired lately. I just haven't really,
Yeah. Actually, when Daniel was in town, we went to go see Hum and Michael Ian Black. I found a copy of original pressing.
Yeah.
For like $13. I was like, awesome, because they're about to reissue it.
Oh, okay.
Because they just reissued most of Air's catalog just recently.
Nice.
Like everything except for like Moon Safari. So I guess they're doing a special thing for that. But I found an original over at Hastings, and I was like, yeah, I'm picking that up. So
Fucking A.
yeah, I was like, why not? It was $13.
Where do I sign up?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So,
Well, that's cool.
but every time I go to Grimy for the reissue for Moon Safari,
Oh,
so every time I
cool.
go up there, like I put my name in there.
Nice.
I did it for the Virgin Suicide box set,
Oh
too,
yeah, I remember
but-
that came out. Yeah.
but that I guess I didn't win that because they don't have the contest up there anymore.
Do you
so.
remember the Beach Boys box set that came out that was a surfboard?
Mm-hmm.
I remember they had it at Grimey's and it was like $1,000.
Wow.
Like, because it was like one of like 200 copies. Like
Mhm.
it was inside this big fucking surfboard. It was just
Oh, I'm thinking of something else then. So it was like a real
it was a fucking
size.
surfboard.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought it was like the box was the shape of a surfboard.
No,
Okay, it was like a
surfboard.
Wow. Mm.
Yeah, there was a Frank Sinatra box set back when I was in high school. We go to Blockbuster Music,
Mhm.
and there was this box set. It was a luggage suitcase, literally not a box. It was a luggage suitcase,
Like a legit
luggage suitcase.
Wow.
That opened up, and it was like everything Frank had ever done, like right there inside.
Wow.
And it's like 20 discs, or I don't know however many it is.
Good
It's
lord.
it's got like this big like thick book to go with it. It was all kinds of, and they had it on display, and it was there for years.
Yeah, who's buying that?
And I don't remember how much it was. And when I was at Phonolux, and I brought it up to the guy that owns the place, and I was like, "Do you got one of those Frank Sinatra box sets?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, of course I do." And I said, "How much did you pay for that?" Because I was just sort of like, it must have been real expensive. He goes, "I don't remember, because I got it when Blockbuster Music went out of business, and I got it on clearance."
That's awesome.
I was like, "That's so funny." I was like, "That's that's the only place I've ever seen it,
Mhm.
and it never sold." And he goes, "Of course it did sold. No one wants to buy that."
Nope. Blockbuster Music, there was one here in Murfreesboro. That's
Yeah.
where I went to buy Pumpkins tickets
Oh, okay.
for the Melancholy tour that had just sold out. And it is where La Siesta is right now.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
In the mattress store, yeah.
It was on its last legs when I moved here.
Yeah.
Like I moved here and it closed a month later
Yeah.
because Casper and I went down there during that last 6 weeks it was open or something like that. And I bought a ton of CDs
Yeah.
for just practically nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And the sign and everything Blockbuster had been ripped off the building and everything, and someone had said it hadn't been a Blockbuster Music in a long time. It was somebody had bought it and was keeping it open but then closing it, so when Blockbuster Music closed, they kept the store open.
Yeah.
So it had all the colors, but all the logos were taken down.
Right.
You know, so I thought that was kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but that was during it's and there's a La Siesta there now.
There's a La Siesta there in a mattress store.
How funny is that? You know,
Mhm.
and it's not a very good La Siesta.
It's all right.
It's not as good as the
No.
other one. And yeah,
It's no El Camino.
no, it's
Or
not
Camino Real.
El Camino.
It's no
El
car.
Camino. Yeah, but I, you know, whatever. Anywho.
Yeah.
So what else? What else have they been saying today these days?
I don't know. That's about all I've been hearing.
Yeah.
As far as the music goes and everything.
Well, let's take a break,
Okay.
and we'll come back, and we have film to discuss.
Yeah.
We do
talk
have
about
film.
some
We
movies.
do have film to discuss, and we do. You know, and we alluded to Tim Burton. We have to talk about Tim Burton
Mm-hmm.
in a different way
Right.
this time around, and we're gonna talk about Kurt Cobain in a different way, in a non-musical way.
Very non-musical.
Very
way.
non-musical way. So when we come back, we will tackle both these topics,
Mhm.
and we'll have some fun doing that. So we'll see you soon.
All right. It's probably better between 2 and 3, but between 1 and 2, that time is just all fucked up.
Well, they say 10 years.
Yeah. But I just don't get the age gap between Anakin and Obi-Wan and Anakin and Amidala.
They miscasted everybody.
Yeah. Except for Ewan McGregor.
No, yeah, that goes without saying.
He was the only one that got cast decently in those movies.
That goes without saying.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying she sucked, but she was either too old or too young. And I'll say she was too old.
Yeah.
But since she did a great job, I'm gonna go ahead and say they miscasted Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah.
And I will say this though: how do you cast the young version of one of the most infamous villains in film history?
Right.
How do you do that?
I don't know. And the thing is, it's like the story, for what we know, for the information that we've already been given, the story in episode 1 was not good. Like,
oh no,
like the Metachlorian bullshit, that's dumb. The pod races, all that's frivolous. I mean, none of that matters. I mean, we know he was a great pilot and everything like that. So I mean,
there to establish that.
Yeah, but Jake Lloyd was not a good decision as a young Anakin Skywalker.
He was too young.
Yeah, they should have messed with the time and had him more of Luke's age. They should have introduced him at Luke's age, at like 16. And that would have made more sense with Amidala.
Which also is really strange, because if only 16 or 15 years passes in between those movies, Alec Guinness is too old to be Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Exactly.
So how old is Obi-Wan Kenobi at the end of the third film?
Right. And how old is Anakin?
Exactly. I mean, how much time?
Because Anakin's probably still in his 20s. And then what's the time frame between 3 and 4? I mean, Darth Vader is an old dude, I mean, from what you were saying, he's the same age as Obi-Wan.
It was always, to me, it was always established that way.
Right.
Him and Obi-Wan were the same age.
They were contemporaries,
yeah.
So.
They were both Jedis at the same time.
Right.
No.
And yeah, I mean, it was never stated that Anakin was the Padawan. It was always just like parallel.
Yeah, that they were Jedi. He trained. It's almost as if you were training someone to do a job.
Right.
Yeah.
Not like I'm grooming you to greater things.
Yeah, the original line in Empire Strikes Back was Obi-Wan killed your father.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Obi-Wan killed your father. And you kind of think about it, you're kind of like, well, kind of did.
I mean, to an extent.
To a certain point of view.
But I mean, Anakin did that. You know, Anakin killed Anakin.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know this for a long time. I didn't know that all the Siths have Darth names. That was something I never picked up on until those movies came out, and apparently that's always been that way in the novels.
Okay.
The Dark Jedis all had Darth names.
Darth Maul, Darth Sidious.
I forget what Vader actually means.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Okay, I'm gonna get started here.
Mm-hmm.
I should have recorded all that.
Yeah.
All right.
Is it going?
Yep,
Okay.
we're on. We're on.
We just had a
We're back.
pretty in-depth conversation about Star Wars that we should have.
Yeah, we should have hit record on that. And we haven't had any dropouts here in the last minute while I was.
Oh, that's true. It's been pretty good.
Just changed the latency on the program. I don't know how that.
Some fucker messing with your shit.
Me, baby, me. Some fucker named Kelly. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there, but oh well. Anyway, but we're back. Technical problems were solved, hopefully. Conversations about Star Wars were had, and we were uploading movies to share with one another. And speaking of movies,
They were talking about some movies earlier.
They have been talking about. Here's what's funny. I haven't heard jack shit about this movie. As we talked about only from you. No one else. And we talked about Tim Burton earlier, and this documentary you gave me, Who Killed Superman.
Mm-hmm.
And
The Death of Superman Lives.
Yeah, Death of Superman Lives.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I appreciate that because that movie was great.
Yeah, it was a really good documentary, and it really kind of gave me I wouldn't say more of an appreciation for Tim Burton, but more clarity on the way the movie would have gone. Because when we always heard like the urban legend, it was like directed by Tim Burton, written by Kevin Smith, starring Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
Like this is like the biggest WTF movie that you can think of. And it was always that. It was always like urban legend.
Yeah.
You know, we never knew anything about it. And a few years ago, there were some photos that started popping up of
The Polaroid.
The Polaroid started popping up. But yeah, watching this documentary gave me a lot more insight as to what exactly would have, happened.
Right.
Because, I never really piece it together, because Tim Burton made one of the best Batman movies. Batman 1989 is a great movie. Still holds up. Still a great flick. So I never really piece it together as far as seeing his Superman vision. I could never envision Superman in that world.
Yeah.
So watching this documentary definitely clarified a lot more than I had always just kind of imagined in my brain.
Right.
So
yeah, it was we were talking about it just the other night, just really, really briefly, and we were both kind of saying along the lines the same thing, like, whose side of the story are you going to believe, Kevin Smith or Tim Burton's?
Right.
And like we're probably going to believe Kevin Smith more because he has nothing to gain from it.
Yeah, I will always believe Kevin Smith. He has no reason to lie about any of this.
What's funny is that like how the way Kevin Smith tells the story is that like Tim Burton quit, and the way Tim Burton tells the story is that the plug was pulled. Right. But what I loved about that movie is that like it introduces a second asshole into the mix.
That you're not aware of.
The producer. John
Peters.
John Peters, yeah. And so you have this second asshole. Delusional asshole. And you have the creative asshole. So you have the artsy asshole and the delusional asshole. And the comic book fan.
Right, that just wants to see an awesome comic book movie made.
And not just Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
All those artists that worked on the film, some of these other people who just concept people were just like, I'm sure to them it was just another paycheck, but they're just a lot like Smith. They just wanted to make something cool. Yeah. Like, oh, we're doing a Superman movie, cool. We're going to, design this cool thing. And, and so you have this other asshole. You're just like, okay, where did that guy come from?
Right.
Like,
or what gives him the right. But that's the crummy thing is because he bought the rights to Superman. So it's like now it's Warner Brothers. So
the story about how they
or supposedly from his from his lips anyway.
They tricked the other studio into thinking that they're had run out, and it's only because they didn't research it. And it's
yeah.
It's already it started off kind of like
sketchy.
Oh
yeah.
Kind of funny,
but Kevin Smith was brought on before Tim Burton.
Yeah,
like Kevin Smith was the original name on the flick.
But he doesn't even like the documentary because of the evening of Kevin Smith. He establishes the timeline as if there was already a script written. He read it, said it sucked.
And he wrote his version.
And but in the documentary, doesn't even mention that. Like he just gets asked to do it. Yeah. And then his script becomes the first working script before it's changed. So they don't even establish that Smith wasn't even the first writer. Right. Like he was like probably the second or third.
Yeah. And that's crazy.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I don't know the other two guys that they brought on after Smith, but I mean, it's Kevin Smith. I would have liked to have seen his version of Superman's
that third
death.
guy was kind of an asshole. Like,
They were both kind of douchey.
Yeah.
And I didn't recognize the names when they started talking to him, so I don't guess that I've seen anything that they've written, if they've written anything.
Well, Smith had a bit of a bout with superhero stuff around that time because he was asked to do Green Hornet.
Right.
And that, of course, that didn't happen for him.
Not until years and years and years later.
But like, he's asked to do Green Hornet, and it was just kind of like, didn't quite pan out the way it was, and it's, so it's just sort of like, it's sort of like you're not allowing the comic book fan to actually do the job right.
Right.
And that's why I always say that's why Iron Man's awesome, is because you had a comic book fan write and direct it.
Mm-hmm.
And Jon Favreau made it the way it should have been, and so.
Did you know most of that movie is highly improvised?
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Probably because of who's in it.
Yeah, I mean, of course, like all the action shots and everything were probably scripted, but like all of, like the interactions between like Jeff Bridges and Robert Downey Jr. They were like, okay, this is kind of going on, so go. Like Favreau just kind of let him have at it.
Just talk about this and this.
Right, exactly.
You just got to make sure you mention these two things, and you do whatever you want,
And with two, kings like that, I mean, Jeff Bridges could. I'd watch Jeff Bridges do anything.
Right. Yeah, I mean, but once again, you have a comic book fan.
Right.
Put a lot of time and money into the suit, put a lot of time and money into the action sequences, put a lot of time and money into making it what it's supposed to be, and then you have the storyline. As long as the storyline makes sense, it doesn't matter what the dialogue is.
Right.
Because Favreau comes from a kind of a comedic indie thing where you just get in there and get it done.
Yeah.
It's
like, we got $20. Let's spread it as much as we can.
You just got to do the scene and do. Talked about like making swingers. They would. Just like that scene on the side of the road when they're on the way home from Vegas. They said they just pulled over and did the scene like twice, and then got back in the car and kept driving.
Right.
And that's what you see in the movie. And I said a lot of swingers. A lot of it was like that.
Yeah. I'd say a lot of that was improvised too.
Yeah, they just would just hurry up and do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because we don't have a permit to be filming on the street here in LA, so I gotta,
Yeah, that's true.
So I mean, but that was just a good. I mean, because I had no idea this documentary even existed until you gave it to me.
I didn't either until probably just a few weeks before I gave it to you. I was like, I saw about it on Reddit and I was like, what? I was like, this is awesome.
But it's really funny because it is there is a funny story to it. Like it does move in a linear fashion to where it's like there's a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Mm-hmm.
Movie ends with the plug getting pulled, and everyone kind of like, oh, I really wish it would have happened. It would have been cool. Woulda, shoulda, coulda, woulda, kind of stuff. Yeah,
but do you think it would ever gotten made anyway?
No,
I don't either.
$300 million for 1997.
Yeah.
98. Excuse me. For 1998, $300 million.
Mm-hmm. But there was so much like in the script. In every one of the scripts, there were at least 3 villains.
Mm-hmm.
At least, and in some there were more. I think Smith probably had like. I know he had at least 3 in his. I know he had like Doomsday.
Brainiac,
and it seems like there was
Lex
somebody
Luthor.
else, and Luthor.
They said there several times that the proposed budget was $300 million, and there was no way they were going to make cuts because they were already being asked to increase the budget.
Right.
It was already being. There was no way they were going to make that movie for $300 million. They said that the Skull Ship alone would have cost $40 million.
Right.
And this is to make the film. They didn't even consider the actors' salaries to go into this as well.
No.
This is just to make the movie.
Mm-hmm.
This is before, Cage gets paid and Burton gets paid.
Right.
This is before your stars are being paid, and you're already 300 in the hole. Like,
and
that's James Cameron shit right there.
Right.
But he has that in his back pocket, so he can do that if he wants.
Burton still wasn't as notarized at that point.
You don't think so?
I don't know. I mean, what was the movie he had done right before that?
Well, I mean, He was well known for like Beetlejuice and shit.
Well, sure, but I mean,
He was still kind of riding the Batman wave.
and based on the concept art alone, I just don't see that had ever happening at that time. Hell, that movie'd be hard to get made now. As far as I mean, it could get made.
This
you
is
know,
pre.
like crazy CGI.
Yeah, like there was CGI back then, but CGI cost money back then. Now it doesn't cost money. It's easy to do.
Right.
Hell, we could CGI a whole film right here in your living room.
Right. On my phone.
On your phone, yeah. While taking a shit.
While taking a shit. We can make a movie of me taking a shit with CGI.
Well, CGI the shit. Your shit of shit.
Mars Attacks was the movie he did right before that.
Which was funny.
That was a brilliant movie. I love Mars Attacks. But I mean, okay, so yeah, I mean, we got Beetlejuice in 88, Batman 89, Scissorhands in 90, Batman Returns in 92, Ed Wood in 94. They're still small movies. You know, they're not.
He can't be trusted with $300 million by that time.
And even though Batman is that main character, you know, that movie wasn't. I wouldn't say that movie was very high budget.
It went over budget, actually.
Did it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I mean, it's not like crazy out there.
Yeah, Batman went over budget, and then they gave him more money. Warner Brothers gave him more money to do Batman Returns.
Yeah.
You know.
And and you got more stars in that too. You got DeVito and Pfeiffer and Walken.
See, it's one thing. I think what they've obviously in that movie established. It's one thing if you're spending $300 million because that's what your actors are costing you.
Mm-hmm.
But it's another thing if you're spending $300 million because that's what the movie's costing.
Yeah.
You know, that's what the sets are costing you.
Yeah. Yeah, because those sets would have been crazy. Like those Krypton sets, holy shit. Those would have been insane if they'd made like the concept art they were talking about. And
the word CGI never once came up in that movie.
Oh no,
it never once.
I mean, being Tim Burton, he would have done as much practical as he could, and that's just because that's who he is. I mean, like the balloons in Batman, you know, like the big parade balloons and everything. Like that's cool. That's practical.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that as soon as the studio saw Planet of the Apes, they were like, man, I'm glad I didn't give Tim Burton $300 million for Superman. Planet of the Apes was a
I love how they established
movie.
Though at that time though it showed all the movies that had bombed.
Right.
That studio had done. It didn't. You know, they spent all this money and only had like half the return.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sort of like, even if that wasn't the case, even if they were riding high on a bunch of hit films and they had the money to spare. For 1998, nobody was going to spend $300 million.
Mm-mm.
I mean, you got to think, Avatar cost $1 billion to
$1 billion.
And that's mostly because he invented new cameras. He paid a company to build him new cameras that cost more money than a donated organ, you know?
Right.
Like, and so that's where a large portion of the budget went. But still, $1 billion. And we're talking 15 years... less than 15 years in time length here between projects. So, you know, and then even Titanic, what came out the year before, would still cost a shit ton of money. You know, it was like $100 million or something like that. You know, it cost. So, even $300 million for 1998. I mean, $300 million now is probably not a big deal. It still is a big deal, but it's probably not. Cameron can pay that out of his pocket.
Right.
But a movie studio can't. That's their release budget for like a year.
That's the standard.
They can't make any more movies, and it has to be a hit.
Yeah.
You know.
And it was a superhero movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like Batman did good, but you know, Superman. I don't know. It's such a hard sell at that time to do a superhero movie like that. Because I mean, I don't know. I mean, Batman is just a different scope than Superman. It's obviously a different character, but I mean,
well, it came out at the right time though.
Well, I mean that did, but I'm just talking about the characters themselves.
Oh, okay.
You know, like Batman is a human being, you know, a mass vigilante. Superman is an alien. There's all kinds of, and then one of the things that John Peters denied, but Kevin Smith had kind of said that he didn't want Superman to fly.
Yeah.
I don't want him flying. Like, you don't want Superman to fly.
He doesn't want a cape either.
Doesn't want a cape. Doesn't want him to fly.
No suit.
No suit. Like, what the hell? But I don't know. I don't think they would have. Even if it did get made, it would have flopped right with all those other movies that came out that
Superman
year.
Returns.
Flopped.
Yeah, the 2006 thing. I didn't even finish watching it.
It's not a horrible movie, but it's not great.
And they established that Lois. They hint that Lois Lane's pregnant.
Right.
There's no way that Superman. She can't carry his baby.
No. Kevin Smith's already gone over the reasons
If the baby
why.
kicks, she'll kick a hole in her uterus. I mean.
But I do find it funny that they had originally wanted Kevin Smith as Luthor, even back in '97.
Yeah.
Like that was kind of cool. But back then he wasn't Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
Or Kevin Spacey. I'm sorry. He wasn't Kevin Spacey because like it was.
American Beauty came out in '97 and he had just won Best Actor for that movie.
Right. I was about to say that's just post Seven, post Usual Suspects. Nobody knew who the hell he was.
And like he was still had a few hit movies under his belt, so he hadn't quite, not the $1 billion actor he is today,
And then Chris Rock is Jimmy Olsen.
This is awesome.
That would have been phenomenal.
What, a black man can't be Jimmy Olsen?
I didn't say that. I'm just saying. I'm just surprised. I love that. Walking into Dogma. Guess who just got off of Jimmy Olsen? What? That's brilliant.
I still can't believe though that they established that she was pregnant.
Well, so you didn't finish it, so you didn't see the results of that.
I know, but like I still can't believe that. It's like barring the whole humor behind her being pregnant, it's just like there is no way that Lois Lane can carry Superman's baby. There just is no way.
I mean, how would we even know that would even, happen? I mean, yeah, Superman, Kal-El looks like us, but he's an alien.
How do we know? Does his junk work the same way as us?
Right, does he have junk? I mean...
Yeah. I mean, that's why I was just sort of like, God, this is just so... I remember getting mad, and I remember just like... Because I watched it with Mary Frances, and she's like, okay, who cares? And I'm like, no, this is a big deal. Like, this is shitty that they're even trying to hint at that,
Right.
That she's pregnant from their one, I'm like, oh, come on. Give me a break.
But and that movie's supposed to take place between Superman 2 and 3. Like Dick Donner's Superman.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, it's immediate.
Yeah.
I think they called it like a direct sequel, like it's they established the timeline like that, although I thought Quest for Peace was pretty badass.
What, 4?
Yeah.
Superman 4?
I saw that in the theater, man. I was a kid.
I think I saw that in the theater too, but that was not a great movie. And they were
Come on, John Cryer's in that movie. Come on. Lex's nephew. Gene Hackman.
Mr. Luthor.
I think it's still funny that Gene Hackman was Lex Luthor.
Yeah. He was a good Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
He's really good.
So I think that was funny. So, but anyway, so if you haven't seen this movie, Who Killed Superman?
The Death of
Superman.
Yeah. Death of Superman Lives.
Find it online.
I think it's on Netflix, actually.
Might be on Netflix. Okay, so it's probably on Netflix. And so you should watch that. And
weird.
Moving on. But I still love Tim Burton.
Yeah.
Even though he was kind of a douchebag through that whole...
Did he not remind you of Nicolas Cage, though? When, like, the dude was interviewing him? Like, he was, like, he did... Well, he's always wearing sunglasses, and his...
House is dark.
And his throne of skeletons or whatever. Not really, but, I mean, it's just Tim Burton.
And you're sort of like... If you didn't know him, you'd be like, is this guy drunk?
Right.
But that's
just Tim Burton. But he reminded me of Nicolas Cage. Oh, and P.S. Nicolas Cage as Superman... Thumbs down as fuck. Terrible. I don't even know why that was even well, I don't even know how it got so far. Like costume try-ons, everything. It got far with Nicolas Cage. Long black hair. It looked terrible. Awful.
He doesn't even look good with long hair like that. He looks like that hippie guy that needs to cut his hair,
Yeah.
Or like
good.
your friend. He looks like that friend that everyone has that's trying to who's going through a hippie phase, but isn't is only doing it halfway.
Right.
And he grew his hair out, and it just looks bad. He's not even taking care of it. It's
it just looks like a rat trap.
Yeah, that's the guy. Like we all knew that guy had a halfway hippie phase.
Yeah, just terrible.
I think I like jam bands, but I don't know.
Let
me smoke some more weed, and I'll tell you.
Right.
Like,
let me go buy some patchouli.
Like that's what he looked like.
Yeah. Yeah, not good.
But what's his name who directed Superman Returns kept that photograph in his script book, and anytime the studio told him no, and he goes, okay, you won't fund this, but you almost made this.
You almost made this. They're like, all right. That was Bryan Singer.
And don't get me started on him. So.
Yeah. I'm glad he went back to X-Men, but Superman Returns was not a great movie.
Well, that was a lot of bullshit. There's a lot of bullshit behind that movie too. So.
Well, yeah. I mean,
there was tons of bullshit behind that movie. Where that movie almost didn't get made. For that reason, like the budget wasn't all there from what I understand. There was a lot of compromises made with the storyline, and it was just that movie almost became what that other Superman movie. It almost didn't happen for that reason, So, but I think the studio is probably like, we still own the rights to Superman. We've got to do something with them,
Right.
So, and it's been, I have been told that movie was just made too quickly.
I could see that.
It was made too quickly.
Yeah.
That was another issue that a lot of people had with it, who worked on it or whatever. Just that it was just it came and went,
Yeah.
There wasn't anything tedious about it. Just it's fucking Superman, I was like, no, it's Superman. You gotta.
Well, Singer was still riding high from like his X-Men.
Yeah.
Because he didn't direct X-Men 3.
No, he didn't.
He did the first 2.
He dropped off. Yeah.
Yeah, but he was still riding high from that wave, so he wanted.
Which is real controversial. Why he even dropped off anyway?
Right.
He had other.
And I liked. Did you see Days of Future Past?
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah.
I mean, when he came back, that was cool. I guess I don't know if he's still doing. He's doing Apocalypse.
Mary Frances liked it.
Yeah.
And she didn't even know what was going on.
It's a good movie.
Did I ever tell you about when we saw X-Men 3?
I don't think so.
Okay, it came out in 2006.
Yeah.
And her and I, we hadn't been together very long at all. And I was like, hey, I'm going to go see X-Men 3. Do you want to come with me? And she goes, yeah. We're sitting there at the Green Hills movie theater. The movie's about to start. And she goes, okay, so, like, I didn't see the first 2. What happens in the first 2?
Oh, yeah, you did tell me
about that.
And I was like,
you haven't seen the first 2? And she goes, no. And I'm like, then why are we here?
Right.
Like, and she's like, oh, I just wanted to come with you. Like, and so I'm like, quick, like, okay, all right, so.
So there's this team. They're called the X-Men.
How do I explain this? Like, quick.
Right.
But she liked it. She thought it was cool, and they kept pushing the storyline. So it was kind of like, well, if you didn't see the other 2, you'd be okay.
Yeah.
And of course, I didn't know that, and so we're watching Days of Future Past. I got it from Netflix, and we're watching it, and she was like, "Oh, this is cool." It's like time travel.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, it's like, it's like there was like a whole series of books that revolved around this, and she's like, oh, this is pretty cool, and then like I was kind of like, oh yeah, it's the same people who made the first 2. No wonder it's cool.
Right.
It's like, but the third one wasn't bad. It just it suffered because it changed writers and directors.
Yeah. And they try to pack in too much.
Yeah.
Like they
the
tried.
Phoenix thing could have been a whole 3 movies.
Yeah, they could do a whole storyline of Phoenix.
Yeah.
And like the Scott and Jean storyline, like all of that. There's so much they could do. But there's so many X-Men. Why do they just focus on a select core?
Right.
In all of these movies, there's like hundreds of X-Men, everybody's been an X-Man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like why is it just Wolverine and Scott and
It's
Jean?
because it's Hugh Jackman. He's like the sexiest man alive. That's
Well,
why. He sells movie tickets.
That's over. He's done.
He's got a big dick, probably, for all we know.
I'm sure he does.
And everybody wants to see it.
And everybody wants to see it.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to see Hugh Jackman's big dick.
I wonder if, never mind, we won't even go into the X-Men anatomy, but
he's done. I mean, after the next X-Men, after the next Wolverine movie.
He's already said so.
Yeah, he's done.
He says he would much rather do some other, I think he said he'd much rather do other action movies and become portray a different action hero.
But he's done that. I mean,
he has done that.
I don't. When I
just think
Hugh
he's
Jackman
done
in a movie,
playing Wolverine. I think if he's gonna do an action film, he wants to do.
Yeah. But if I see him in another movie, I don't see Wolverine. I see Hugh Jackman.
But Hugh Jackman can do anything. He can dance. He can sing.
Yeah.
Girl,
he can do it all.
You got the one titty out. I mean, come on, he can do anything.
That's right.
So I think it's kind of cool that he's like, okay, I'm done. Like, I mean, you gotta think he's been playing Wolverine for 16 years now.
Yeah.
Like,
it'll be like 17 years by the next. Yeah. By his last Wolverine movie, so.
I mean, but to me, that's just kind of like, I hate to draw the comparison, but like, that's like when Harrison Ford said he'd never play Han Solo ever again.
Yeah.
And here he is, he's playing Han Solo again. But he did more than, Hugh Jackman's played Wolverine more than 3 times.
That's true. He's played him a lot.
Yeah, so I don't know, but yeah, but I'm just that was a good movie though.
Yeah,
it was good. So
I think Apocalypse will be really good too.
Yeah,
it's gonna be set in the 80s, so it's gonna be like.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It's gonna be cool.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So we're gonna get to see like.
My brother probably still has our comics from all that.
Yeah.
That whole thing.
We're gonna see like Jubilee and Jean Grey and Nightcrawler as like teenagers.
Jubilee's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I always liked her in the comic books.
I liked the show.
Did you ever
watch the cartoon?
Yeah. Could never quite figure out what her power was, but
Right.
The bubbles and shit.
And I don't know if like the Gambit movie's still going on, but that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Gambit was one of my favorites on the cartoon.
Gambit was cool. Yeah.
Just because the cards and the bow and everything.
Actually, I was at Peach's house a while back. I guess we were getting ready to have band practice, and on his desk he has Netflix, and he had gotten those X-Men, the cartoon. He got them from Netflix. I was like, "You can get these on Netflix," and he goes, "Yeah, I watched G.I. Joe last week." Like,
nice.
And so of course I immediately went home and put him in my queue.
Mm-hmm.
And had like a X-Men fest.
Yeah.
Tried doing G.I. Joe. I don't know. Matt said he watched all of G.I. Joe, but like I tried. I was like, nah, this is just more fun when you're flipping through the channels and there's G.I. Joe.
Yeah, I think even as a kid I was like, G.I. Joe, whatever. I was more about like GoBots and shit like that.
The Kmart of
Transformers.
Transformers, yeah.
I mean, I like Transformers too, but I had some GoBots. Those were pretty fun.
I never had any GoBots.
Did you not?
No.
I had both of them.
Yeah, I remember there was we had Transformers, and we had Uncle Kelly's Transformers too. So, and they're at home somewhere. I don't know if Mom and Dad got rid of them or not, but we had some of those. And I remember when I was a kid. Oh man, we're talking vague memory. I remember for Christmas one year, like one of our relatives, an aunt and uncle, gave me and Justin the construction ones,
mm-hmm.
and and then you put them together to make the big one. But we only got like 3 of them, and to this day we could never figure out how does it go together like that. And I never thought I should just Google that and Google
mm-hmm.
and see what it looks like. But I remember just thinking like it was kind of cool because the little construction ones and. Part of me is like, man, I wonder if they're still at home. I wonder if we still have those somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a bunch of our action figures in a box now.
Mm-hmm.
I found them in the garage when we were moving.
Yeah.
And my
That's pretty cool.
Brother's like, don't get rid of them. I'm like, dude, this smells like cat piss. I don't know what you want me to do,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna clean them up and I don't know, play with them maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah.
Give them to Justin. He'll play with them.
Yeah. which is which is another weird thing. I was sort of like, okay, I have these. There's no telling what's at home in my parents' attic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's no telling.
Right.
I do know the Ecto one, the Ghostbusters stuff, is probably still there too. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I think Uncle Kelly bought us that. He bought us the, you know, Ghostbusters. Uncle Kelly bought us shit that he wanted to play with. 'Cause he was just like a big kid. 'Cause he's only like 10 years older than me. So like, you know, he was like our kind of like our big brother in a way. So it's like I always felt like he bought us crap that he wanted to play with.
Yeah, that's what you do.
That's what like he gave us like his Voltron stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like we had all the Voltrons because of Uncle Kelly. You know, and you could put it together, and you had the big Voltron.
It was a giant Voltron.
Which I always say I was. People have asked me if I liked Power Rangers, and I said no, I was too old to like Power Rangers because I liked Voltron.
Right, which is the same thing.
It's the same fucking thing.
Yeah, the Voltron's just a shitload cooler.
I was about 3 years too old to like Power Rangers. Like I missed it just by that, you know. And when I think about people repackaging things, I always think of Power Rangers versus Voltron.
Oh yeah,
always think about that. It's the same goddamn thing.
It is.
And the other we found, and this was years ago. Do you remember Dino Riders? So I don't think we had any of those.
I never had any.
I don't think we had any of them. But I had a lunchbox.
Yeah.
I had a Dino Riders lunchbox, and I had a VHS that I bought when I was working at Video Culture, and it was in like the used VHSs that Shelley had, and it was 2 episodes of Dino Riders, and
Nice.
I bought it, and I found it when I was cleaning stuff out. I was like, oh, cool, Dino Riders, and I popped it in, and it's so scratchy, I can't even watch it. Like,
oh man.
Yeah, I can't. But I got on YouTube, and like they only made 12 episodes.
Really?
Yeah, I got on YouTube, and I watched like the first. Ian sat in my lap and watched like 2 episodes with me. You know, and I was like, yeah, these are dinosaurs. You know, like dinosaurs were popular in the 80s apparently because
they were.
Because then there was another one that we watched, and I can't think of the name of it, where the dinosaurs actually talked. And
were they like kind of like cyborg?
Kind of like robot-y type of...
like robot-y dinosaurs.
And one of them's name
like
was Aloe.
I'm thinking of like a Triceratops with like half a robot face. Like a Kano eye. That sounds familiar.
We watched that. It was like...
Damn, what was the name of that? I don't know.
Yeah, it was... But one of the characters' name was Aloe.
Aloe?
Yeah, he was like a brontosaurus, you know.
That sounds familiar.
I just remember that because my brother really liked that one, and you know, but yeah, those kind of, and then my dad found our definitely dinosaurs, which were just like these like dinosaurs that came with a caveman. So I had one, my brother had one. My dad found them in the attic and got them down and cleaned them up and let Ian play with them, you know, and what was kind of weird was like, wow, in the 80s, like dinosaurs were popular, like.
Why is that?
Yeah, I never really made that connection until the last couple of weeks. Like, you know, the Dino Riders, the other cartoon,
and there was there was dinosaurs.
You know, and just
I guess that was more late '80s, early '90s. That's probably more '90s though. I hated that fucking show.
Yeah,
hated it.
I mean, it was we didn't watch it. Like it wasn't like, and I'll never forget the next day on the bus. After the I'm the Baby, Gotta Love Me video debuted.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody was singing that.
What about Do the Bartman? You remember when that came on?
Simpsons Sing the Blues. I still have the tape somewhere.
Man, I used to have that tape. I had the tape. Born Under a Bad Sign.
Yeah.
That was a good record. What was Lisa's song? She had a song.
Didn't she play the saxophone?
I thought that was awesome. I was like, I got a tape that says "damn" on it a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, that was just
There were a lot of like those cartoons that just came on like just randomly.
I found a Legend of Zelda VHS.
Sweet. From the Super Mario Brothers show.
Yeah, I don't know where it's at anymore though. It's in a box somewhere.
I remember that every Friday was a Legend of Zelda episode.
Yeah, every Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they only made. Oh, I mean, there aren't very many of those either. There's only like 9 or 10 of them. Like
Captain Lou.
yeah.
Why is it so funny? Why is Captain Lou albino?
Well, you know they
Mario.
have the Super Mario Brothers Super Show on Netflix, but it does not have the Legend of Zelda.
It doesn't?
No.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Huh.
Because I turned it on when Charlotte was like 2. You know, I get to watching through some of it, and she's just kind of like, okay, whatever, you know. Can we watch Rocky and Bullwinkle?
Right.
You know, because they had every Rocky and Bullwinkle on there at the time, you know, and I was just like,
I want to watch Moose and Squirrel.
yeah, that's easier to understand, I suppose.
Probably.
And you know, and then I'm like cycling through the episodes, just I'm like, what the hell? They don't have Legend of Zelda on here, you know? Like I was pissed, you know.
I would be too. That's upsetting.
But they have them. You can watch them all on YouTube, like,
right?
You can watch them all on YouTube. But yeah, you're right. There was a lot of little things like that just kind of came and.
Like, did you ever watch Danger Mouse?
Yes.
You know they're bringing that back. Netflix is bringing it back.
Oh shit.
And Inspector Gadget.
Oh.
Yeah, they're gonna make new episodes of Inspector Gadget. But yeah, they're doing a new
like
Danger
original
Mouse.
animation type.
No, I mean it'll be a little bit more modern, but I mean
but still it's a cartoon.
Yeah, it's a cartoon.
Fuck yes.
Yeah.
We loved Inspector Gadget.
I did too. Penny and what was the dog's name?
Penny always solves the case.
With her computer book. What was the dog's name?
Precursor to the iPad.
Right. What was her dog's name?
Oh fuck if I remember, dude. I don't remember that.
Man.
Inspector Gadget. Oh god. Now, do you remember Silverhawks?
Oh yeah, Silverhawks was awesome.
Yeah, I think we had like 2 of those action figures. I think I had one and my brother had one, and yeah, I think we just had like one of each of those. I just had like, so if I still had it, I don't know where it would be. You know, I don't know if it's in that, if it's with all my old shit. But we thought the show was cool. But then I find out Silverhawks is another one of those. Like, there's only like 13 episodes, and not very many, you know, like
that was like do you remember the Wuzzles?
No.
They were animals. They were like 2 animals that would be combined into one. So like the main dude was like a lion and a bee. But like I remember watching that show a lot as a kid, but come to find out there were like 6 episodes or 10 episodes of it, and that's it. And it's like I remember watching this a lot as a child, but you know.
Well, I found out though that like Voltron is another one. It's like Voltron was on for 3 seasons, but there's no more than like 20 episodes or whatever.
Okay.
To produce a cartoon back then, took a lot of time, and it isn't like it is today. And
or you can just send it to Korea for a week, and it's done.
Like to produce a cartoon back then took some effort, you know.
Yeah.
Even in the 80s.
Well, yeah, because you still got to hand draw all that stuff.
So it's like I'm not surprised when I hear that or I read that, and you know.
That's curious. Like, I wonder how many episodes, like when you watch Saturday morning cartoons, like I wonder how many episodes of like Muppet Babies were made, or you know, stuff like that. Like, because these shows were always on, or even like Looney Tunes. You know, I could watch Looney Tunes all day, but I'll probably start recycling them after a while because it's, you know.
Yeah. I like how Looney Tunes though is interesting because in one episode you got 3 to 4 different bits. You know.
And they're all the same background.
Yeah. Which is funny.
Only the foreground changes.
Yeah. Which is always like the coyote. There's a lot of reused. He falls down the. You just reuse that every time. You know.
Or if you watch Tom and Jerry, like when they run through the house, it's like, well, they've passed that lamp 5 times. I know they have.
My brother came up. My brother used to make little comic strips. And Justin was really much better at drawing than I ever was, and he had his little characters were Zeke and Norman. Zeke was the cat. Norman was the mouse.
Okay.
You know, like that was my brother's Tom and Jerry comic. That was actually, you know, if I were to bring that up to him now, he'd probably be like, okay, yeah, whatever.
Right.
Like,
We're not talking about
like
this.
I'm like, you still have those somewhere. Come on, you saved them. You
Right.
saved those drawings. I know you did. Like, let's see it. Let's see that shit. Come
Right.
on. Let's see your 10-year-old. But nah, he probably doesn't have it. He's not an archivist like me. He doesn't save shit. But yeah, but we used to watch that kind of stuff, and just like, oh, it must be. It's what you got to do to make a cartoon. You got to, and. But yeah, it was like Voltron to find that out. It was sort of like, oh wow, like G.I. Joe. There aren't that many episodes of G.I. Joe. Like,
right. Well, especially with all the characters that G.I. Joe has.
Talk about reusing footage, stock footage. God, G.I. Joe was the king of that.
I bet. And probably like Masters of the Universe. I know they reused a lot of footage.
We loved He-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Another movie is never going to happen.
Nope. Grayskull.
Grayskull's never. Do you remember in 2008?
Way back when.
7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You were like, oh yeah, I was on IMDb the other day. Apparently there's a Grayskull movie in the works for 2011. What year is it again?
Still waiting for...
Still waiting on that.
Still waiting for Eternia.
But I read a thing. It was like the top 10 movies that's had the most developmental hell of all, of recent years. And most of this crap I've never heard of, but all the movies are held up for one, two, or many reasons. And Grayskull has had one of the worst runs of developmental hell, in terms of a movie, to the point where like it was fucking canceled. Like,
right,
like it's like they didn't even get to concept art. Like,
right.
Like they didn't even get that far.
Hasbro just needs to sell the rights to that and just make it. I mean, there could be a really awesome He-Man movie.
The more that the years roll by, the more I appreciate the shitty Masters of the Universe movie of 1987.
Yeah, that movie is a terrible piece of shit.
Uncle Kelly and Dad took me and my brother to see that in the movie theater. And when you're 5 and 6 years old, how old was I in 87? I was like 5, 6 years old. Yeah, it was that summer, 88, 87. Yeah, I was like 5, 6 years old. When you're that old, you think that is the coolest fucking movie ever.
Yeah. When I was a child, that movie was amazing. And
then I didn't see it for years. I didn't see it because it never aired on HBO.
Right.
And you never saw it at the video store.
Actually, the little video store down from my house, they had it. That's where I first saw it. I don't think I saw it in the theater.
And I found out it was one of those movies that got slipped through the cracks because of rights and stuff, and that's why you never saw it.
Okay.
Yeah. When it was re-released on DVD, like that was kind of a big legal thing that a lot of legal stuff got settled.
Yeah.
To make that happen.
Wow.
Because I was working at Blockbuster when it finally came out on DVD.
Okay.
And there wasn't really much extra on it. But I watched it again as I was like 20 years old.
Yeah.
I watched it again, and I'm like, good Lord, we liked this.
And poor Frank Langella. Like...
Oh, he looked like Skeletor.
Looked like shit. Like, I see stills from it now. I haven't seen it since I was a kid. But it just like... Wow. He had to sit... Somebody had to put that makeup on him. And he had to do that.
So cool. But back then, but like... But I appreciate it more now because I'm like, well, somebody actually like took something and made something out of He-Man and tried to establish, something and make a modern or more real life He-Man. And it's like, okay, people, it's 2015. I mean, I know you can do better than that.
Yeah. I mean, the stuff they're doing with like, all the Marvel movies. Is it Hasbro or is it Kenner?
Kenner probably owned
He-Man.
He-Man, yeah.
Yeah, that makes... Yeah. They probably did. Hasbro was more like board games. No, they did. They did Transformers.
Yeah, Hasbro's Transformers.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, they could make an awesome... because you could awesome Battle Cat. Like, Castle Grayskull would look amazing.
Well, anywho, well, if we don't have anything else, I guess...
Was that it, or did you want to venture into Tales of Seattle?
We might have to save that.
Okay. We did kind of go off on a little nostalgia tangent there.
But I will preface this by just saying she fucking did it.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I've had that thought since I was 14 years old.
and so we'll give our listeners a little something to think about.
Yeah.
And we'll lead off with this at our next adventure. So, I guess that's it.
To that end.
To that end.
Well, you know what they always say.
Yeah, they always say. Thank you.
Thanks.
Good
See
night.
you next time.